So in today's video of Beta Bully, I'm going to be showcasing off the removed vehicles. Now before we begin, I should mention that most of the vehicles shown here are NPC vehicles that you would see around Bulworth, not vehicles Jimmy could use himself. First of all, in the game's data files, we have a file which is called handling.cfg. This is a vehicle configuration file and it was used in every single 3D era game of Rockstar's, from Grand Theft Auto 3 up until Grand Theft Auto Vice City Stories and every game in between. When we take a look inside the handling configuration file, there's a load of interesting strings for all kinds of vehicles that don't actually appear in Bully. Firstly, there's some boat handling lines, which is strange since no boats ever appear in Bully, not even as NPC vehicles. Same goes for helicopters, RC vehicles and planes, as there's leftover strings for police helicopters, the seaplane and even the Hunter. In fact, Bully has absolutely no aircrafts or boats of any kind, aside from the plane you see flying over Bulworth sometimes. And no, that is not an actual plane, that's just a 2D effect, not like the Grand Theft Auto games where there are actually planes flying over the city. I highly doubt Rockstar ever intended Bully to have flyable aircrafts, especially since the majority of buildings in Bulworth don't even have rendered rooftops, so these seem like leftover strings for compatibility reasons. Although I will say, the fact there's leftover handling strings for a military helicopter that fires missiles in Bully is actually weirdly funny. Now we have a few more interesting strings. If we go down to the bike section, we can see a list of all our bikes that appear in Bully, like our crap BMX, our mountain bike, the moped, but at the bottom of this, there's three very interesting lines: dirt bike, angel and freeway. These three vehicles are all seen in Grand Theft Auto Vice City. I believe the freeway and the dirt bike actually appear in GTA San Andreas, known as the freeway and the Sanchez respectively. Now in Bully we only have one motorbike that is seen in free mode, and that is Officer Monson's bike, which the player will see should you get a full trouble meter outside the school. The other two bikes do not appear at all. In my hidden interiors video, I did mention that the auto shop actually has a strange bike, which looks like an NPC version of Officer Monson's bike, which also never appears in free mode. If we take a look at the cars section of the handling, we can see a string for the Comet. The Comet in the GTA series is a sports car, something that doesn't appear in Bully. In the GTA games, ranging from GTA 3 to Vice City Stories, the Comet's appearance was the same throughout. No vehicle that looks like this appears anywhere in Bulworth, but my best guess is the Comet would have been found in Old Bulworth Vale. Another car that looks like it is left over from GTA San Andreas is the Walton. In the GTA series, the Walton is actually a low-end pickup, which you can see in the countryside, and like the Comet, no vehicles in Bully look like this. As the Walton is a really low-end car, and the Comet is a rather high-end car, it could be that the Walton would have spawned in the poorer areas of Bulworth, while the Comet would have been found in the richer areas of Bulworth. Judging from these leftover strings, it looks like Rockstar are planning to have a bit more traffic variety in Bulworth, rather than the same three cars you see all across Bulworth. Speaking of leftover cars, at the top of the file there's a plethora of disabled vehicles. I used to mod GTA San Andreas a few years ago, and I remember that data files could have their strings disabled by putting a semicolon at the beginning of the string, something all the vehicles here have. Now I'm just remembering this off the top of my head, but I'm almost certain all of these vehicles that are listed here are cars that appeared in GTA 3 or GTA Liberty City Stories, since GTA San Andreas never had the Diablos, the Yardis or the Yakuza, as those are all Liberty City gangs that did make appearances in GTA 3 and Liberty City Stories. As all these strings are disabled, I believe these were never ever planned for Bully, and they were just leftover strings from previous Grand Theft Auto games. I have absolutely no idea what the formula car is, so I'm just going to assume it's the go-kart, as there is no obvious string for the go-kart in the file. Next up we have a strange bike, which is only seen in a cutscene, and that cutscene is in Fighting Johnny Vincent, specifically the cutscene where Johnny jumps into the junkyard. Now after this cutscene, the bike model changes into a regular racer model. If you don't know what I'm on about, I'm going to play the cutscene, where it's going to be really slowed down and it's going to be zoomed in on the bike, as it is kind of difficult to see if you're not paying attention. Aside from the BMX you get from passing Shop 5, there is no other red bike in Bully. Judging from the only angle we have, it looks like this particular bike model was going to be based off the Racer, but it's red rather than grey. It could be that the Racer model was originally going to be in red as well, or maybe bikes had different colours. You know, so rather than just seeing the same colour bike everywhere, you'd get a chance to see maybe, say, the crap BMX in blue, red, green, whatever. You know, rather than just the bikes having one like texture, if you know what I mean. And lastly, we have the Nerd Battle Wagon, and this is like the third time I've had to cover this since it falls under multiple categories, as it's a weapon, it's a vehicle, and it's part of a mission change. There is no model of this battle wagon in the game files. The only proof we have of this is a leftover model of it from Rockstar developer Andrew Wood, who worked on Bully during its production. The Nerd Battle Wagon was originally going to appear in Defender of the Castle. Originally, Defender of the Castle was going to be a much more different mission. Rather than remain on the spud cannon fending off jocks, Jimmy would actually be driving this around and fending off the jocks by shooting at them from this vehicle. According to Andrew Wood, the Battle Wagon was removed because the PlayStation 2 could not handle it, and the Defender of the Castle mission was changed considerably due to its removal. Judging from Andrew Wood's comments about it, it appears Jimmy would have used this Battle Wagon in free mode once the mission was beaten. Well, that's all the information I could find out about the beta vehicles of Bully, and thank you for watching.